So Disney gets destroyed by the very audience for the insane lies about no longer in dealing in DEI. And right now, people are seeing Bob Iger as insane. So Disney once again is proving it cannot be trusted. This is coming in from thatpopculture.com, and Disney told audience before it was stepping back from divisive politics, but now Disney is advertising a new DEI role, paying nearly $250,000, as you all can see here. Now, Bob Iger said the company would move away from this agenda, yet Bob Iger is still approving positions that keeps it alive. Now, the contradiction also shows that Disney never abandoned, the ideology, and Bob Iger never meant what he promised. So shout out to Marvin Montanaro for penning this article. Now, as you all know, actually, the company's chief human resources officer sent out a memo to over 200,000 employees that was supposed to look like a course correction. And it said the financial targets would, no longer include diversity and inclusion as a measurement. And it said that the initiatives would now be tied more directly to business goals. You see, they even bragged about deleting the Reimagine Tomorrow platform, which had become a symbol of the woke culture itself that's driving their brand into the ground. Now, on paper, it sounded like, Disney was listening, but in reality, it was just simply another distraction, okay? So not long after the truth was exposed, Disney posted a brand new job opening for a director position over in Burbank, California, of all places, paying nearly $250,000 per year. Now, the entire role is built around DEI. Now, the listing itself talks about inclusive learning, integration, and planning. It also openly declares that diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, are critical enablers of the company's mission. So while the executives were trying to signal to audiences that the politics were done, the paychecks actually show otherwise. You see, Bob Iger once again said one thing publicly and approved another thing privately. That's no surprise to Bob Iger at all. But the wording on the job posting is just basically corporate nonsense. Starts with the familiar slogan, "At Disney, we're storytellers. We make the impossible possible." That line has lost its meaning because the company has been repeating it while delivering the weakest lineup of movies and shows in its history. Now, the description promises, cutting edge technology, immersive parks, interactive games, and global media. But then it drops the real focus. DEI is the foundation of all of it. That makes it clear the company has not abandoned the agenda. You see, Bob Iger's entire promise to quiet the politics looks like a calculated lie right now, okay? And I've been talking about this a lot too, but this is the same pattern every single time Disney hits a wall. Audiences reject the product and investors raise concerns. And then the company pretends to go ahead and pull back from politics, but they put out talking points saying that they've learned their lesson. But Bob Iger goes on television to say the culture war fights are bad for business. But then behind the scenes, the same ideology is embedded in job postings, hiring priorities, and content pipelines. You see, it's happened again and again. And this new $250,000 DEI role is proof the cycle just keeps on repeating. Now, plenty of critics called it earlier. You see, when Disney announced the end of Reimagine Tomorrow, you see, people said it didn't mean anything. But They also warned that the company would just simply rename the program and continue as usual. Now, that's exactly what happened. The ideology is still driving decisions inside the corporation, and it's also still guiding who gets hired, how shows are written, and what characters are forced into stories. You see, Bob Iger can change the labels, but he hasn't changed the agenda or the substance. Okay. Now, the damage is obvious. Pixar, once the crown jewel of animated storytelling, has collapsed into a shell of itself. You see, every project feels more like a checklist than a creative idea. Now, instead of just simply asking whether the story will connect with kids and families, executives ask whether they've, met representation requirements. That's why the audiences feel no connection. Now, the life has been sucked out of it, and honestly, Disney refuses to admit that DEI culture is the reason. Bob Iger would rather talk about the technology upgrades than simply just, face the creative decay. But the same rot spreads through Marvel and Star Wars. Now, instead of just simply putting story first, Disney puts politics first. Writers are pressured to shove in themes that alienate half the audience, okay? And even directors are simply boxed in by requirements from above. And the end result is flat, forgettable, or just simply outright embarrassing. Yet Bob Iger insists that the company is shifting away from these bad choices. Now, the facts prove him wrong. A $250,000 position dedicated to enforcing the same strategy means there is no real change at all. Okay, so the audiences actually know exactly what's happening. The families see their kids turned into test subjects for woke ideology instead of just being given fun stories. Fans see franchises destroyed by constant political messaging. And every flop at the box office is tied to weak writing, poor character development, and woke agenda-driven mandates. You see, it's no coincidence at all. And yet, simply instead of just owning up to it, Disney and Bob Iger doubles down with this, jobs like this, and then blames the toxic fans when projects fail. You see, Bob Iger pretends that it's an image problem when in reality, it's actually a content problem. Now, the cycle is predictable. A project bombs, the company signals a course correction. Investors start to hear promises, and then nothing changes. You see, when the financial results come in, Bob Iger blames bad marketing for shifting consumer behavior. But honestly, the truth is that audiences are walking away simply because Disney refuses to put storytelling above politics. Now, every time the company claims to, be done with the DEI agenda, it creates another role to enforce it. Now, the proof is sitting in career sections of their own website. And that's the real reason Disney is bleeding right now. They can go ahead and spin it any way they want, but the connection between DEI mandates and creative collapse is undeniable. And even Bob Iger knows it himself. Every weak script from Disney is shaped by these priorities. Every alienating character decision comes from, this structure from Disney under Bob Iger. It's not a mistake, but it's a policy. And Bob Iger refuses to dismantle it because his leadership depends on protecting the culture that he helped to create. Now, the $250,000 DEI job from Disney is a monument to his dishonesty. But just simply think about the contradictions. You see, on one side, Bob Iger tells investors and audiences that the company is simply cutting back on politics. On the other, Disney is paying an executive six figures to push the exact politics that the people rejected. I mean, it's not just misleading, it's insulting, and they assume the public won't notice. You see, they assume the news cycle will move on, but the internet makes sure that everyone notices. You see, that's why every new announcement from Disney gets mocked and distrusted. Now, honestly, the result is a collapsing brand. People cancel Disney Plus, theme parks see fewer returns, visits, and merchandise sits unsold. Now, the company blames the economy, but the truth is the customers are actually tired of being preached to. Now, the brand has gone from, being beloved to distrusted in less than a decade. And Bob Iger's handling of this mess only accelerates the decline. You see, he repeats empty promises while greenlighting the same failed policies. And audience don't even believe him anymore because, simply put, the evidence just keeps proving him wrong. All right. So this is why the entertainment feels empty. You see, Disney no longer builds around timeless ideas. Every project begins with a checklist. Writers can focus on humor, drama, or creativity. I mean, they're forced to go ahead and write around identity demands. You see, Bob Iger's leadership ensures that, this cycle continues. He can say whatever he wants on stage, but as long as Bob Iger is approving jobs like the new DEI director at Disney, the priorities are clear. Storytelling is no longer first. Politics is. That's the new Disney motto. Now, the fallout is measurable, where billions lost at the box office, streaming subscribers decline, theme park struggles, merchandising collapse, and still Disney spends money on DEI roles instead of investing in creativity. You see, Bob Iger cannot claim that he doesn't understand why this is happening. Now, the numbers tell the story itself. The public tells the story. The only reason he keeps lying is because he refuses to abandon the ideology that ruined the company. Okay. So, yeah, bottom line, Disney pretended to delete DEI programs, but never stopped them. You see, they gave the public, another speech about, change, and then turned around and wrote a $250,000 job description, proving nothing had changed. Bob Iger lied to investors, lied to fans, and lied to employees. And now the company is trapped in the same destructive loop. For anyone who wants to cash in, Disney is hiring. For the rest of us, it's just another reminder that the brand once trusted by families is being run into the ground by arrogance and dishonesty. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future uploads, notifications, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.